Coronavirus stimulus is at a stalemate. We are hearing that the meeting between Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senator Chuck Schumer, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, is ongoing over the next round of coronavirus relief. When we have more details on that, updates, we will bring them to you. But let's bring in Mike Huckabee, former Arkansas governor. He's also a Fox News contributor. Governor, great to see you. Part of the conversations, part of why they can't come to some sort of deal here is with respect to the unemployment benefits, right? That's $600 a week. And the Republicans are saying, how are you going to get people back to work if you continue to give them more to stay home than they would be making at their job? And the Dems are saying, no, we have to keep this going. What are your thoughts on how they can achieve some sort of a middle ground?
I'm not sure they're going to, because the Democrats don't want to get this resolved. They want this to be a train wreck. And it's all about the politics of it, Jackie. It's not because they think it's really good policy to pay people more money to not work than it is for them to work. I think we all want to see people get some type of relief if their jobs have disappeared through no fault of their own. I mean, this is a pandemic that has destroyed so many people's livelihoods and their businesses. But it's a different thing when their jobs have come back, but they won't come back because the government is sending them a check that's bigger than the check they got when they were working. And I don't know why the Democrats think that's a great idea. And all it does is just continually keep those unemployment rates high. So when the Democrats want to help American workers and the American economy more than they want to hurt Donald Trump, this gets resolved. But until that happens, there's going to be a stalemate.
Okay, and one of the other focal points, the big ones, the debate is resources going to schools to reopen in the fall. Obviously, the Dems are saying if it's not safe, we can't do it, or we can't do it if we don't pour tons and tons of money into it. The Trump administration is saying, listen, there are certain things that we can do. The schools that are going to reopen, of course, they're going to get funds first because they're going to plan to bring people back. But this is an ongoing, conversation and so many differing views here. And there is still some information on safety that we don't necessarily know.
Well, and I think, Jackie, the important point that the Trump administration is trying to make is that, you put water in the pool of where people are going to swim. If people aren't going to swim in the pool, there's no point in pouring water in. So the schools that say we're not going to open, well, they don't need the money right now. There's no urgency. But the schools that are going to open, that understand how valuable it is for the kids to be back in a classroom, frankly, how valuable that is for parents, so they can go back to work and not have to stay home with their kids. A lot of these kids, millions across the country, depend upon the public school lunch program for the best nutrition they get. So for a whole lot of reasons, the FDA, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, they all say, get these kids back in school. The Democrats can't argue that this is not important because there's a consensus that it is, but there's no reason to fund schools if they're going to stay closed.
I want to switch gears for a second as well, though, Governor, because the fate of presidential debates is up in the air right now. Appearing on Fox News this afternoon, Dr. Jill Biden gave her take on if she thinks that they're going to happen because of coronavirus. Take a listen.
Will the vice president debate Donald Trump this fall?
Oh, yes, he will. I think they've already, I think it's 3 debates that they decided on. So, yeah, they'll be there.
We've been talking about a lot of different things, but there is an election coming up in November, and we've got these 2 candidates coming head to head. And it's so interesting because I think if they didn't have to show up, they probably wouldn't. I think Donald Trump has shown himself to be a better person on the debate stage, a candidate on the debate stage than people thought that he would be, especially against Hillary Clinton. Your thoughts on what you think is going to happen and how the American people are going to judge these two as they try to have a conversation?
Well, I thought Jill Biden did a great job today by simply saying, yeah, he's going to be there. I know the New York Times today has editorialized that they hope that he will skip the debates. What are they afraid of? Joe Lockhart, former Clinton press secretary, tried to urge Joe Biden to stay away. But Jill Biden, who I think is in a better position than most people, has said he will make it to the stage, and he should. If he doesn't, I think he has a hard time explaining why he would stay down in his hidey hole instead of getting up on the stage and facing President Trump. But it ain't going to be no picnic. I can tell you that for sure. President Trump is a fearless debater, and he goes onto that stage with reckless abandon, with one goal in mind, to win, and he usually does.
And he did last time, so we will be watching. Governor Huckabee, thank you so much for being on with us today.
You bet. Thank you, Jackie.